Alright, what's going on, guys? It is your boy TKD123 here, back here in PlayStation Source. I know it's been a while. I'm sorry. There's a lot of in real life things I'm doing right now. Nothing bad, you know what I'm saying? Just like a lot of life stuff that I have to definitely attend to. But I definitely wanted to make this video, and I'm actually happy that I took a little bit to make this video. You guys see the title. We're gonna talk about the 5 big problems I see with the new PS Plus service. If you want a breakdown of that service, check out our last video. I'll put it up here on a card on YouTube and in the description as well. And also down there, check out our Twitter, Discord, all that great stuff down below in the description. But going into it here, I definitely want to make this video, and I'm happy that I took a little bit of time before I made this video, even though it was kind of unintentional about how long I took to make this video, because there's been a lot of things that have come to light about some of the issues here about the PS Plus service that I now have a different view on, but still overall, still definitely problems, you know what I'm saying? But let's start with the top one here. First up, the elephant in the room, the one that I definitely called out in that original info video. PlayStation 3 games are still streaming on this service with the premium tier of the PS Plus service. This is something that was in the leaks a few weeks and months before the official announcement, and it's something that I'm really shocked that is still in the final product, right? Like, at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying, like, they've made it very clear here that it definitely is a difficult thing to do. The cell processor is just a whole mess of worms to try and emulate on the modern system. I get it, but at the end of the day, I really can't fathom how they still haven't got it together, right? And there's been a lot of interviews that I've listened to, specifically on Sacred Symbols with Colin Moriarty, where they had a tech analyst really go into the nitty-gritty about how every dev during the PS3 era had to deal with the cell processor in their own specific way. Thus, they had different solutions working with the cell processor. So in theory, you have a lot of games that were running on PS3, but they use very specific and different ways to appease the cell processor on the PS3. So that is definitely one thing where it's hard to make a universal emulation system when we had a bunch of devs back in the day figuring out how to use the cell processor in different ways. So that's one thing, right? But then we have, of course, here Jeff Grubb of GamesBeat that shed a little light on this and definitely lit the prospect that, hey, PS3 emulation is in the works and it's not dead. He says here, quote, "Since talking about this all last week, I've looked, I've asked, it sounds like Sony might be working on emulation for PS3 on PS5. Jeff Grubb revealed as spotted by VGC, quote, "It may take some time. I wish they would come out and tell us that you care about this stuff, because this is what was missing from the PlayStation Plus announcement. To me, it seemed like they didn't care about any of it. They just slapped it together, put a new name on it, and sold it." And there's a little bit of that end bit about, how it wasn't really like that surprising with this PS Plus service. Like, I can see what he was saying here. For me, it's mainly like, I wish they would just acknowledge how important the PlayStation 3 was. Like, that is an incredible generation. That's where I really started my deep fandom and love for gaming, and there's a lot of iconic games and IPs that are still here to this day that started on PS3. Uncharted, The Last of Us, Killzone, Infamous, like we can go on and on about how many Resistance as well, even though those are, some of those IPs are dormant. Like, they are really good IP and really good games in there that are stranded and subject to just streaming on modern, consoles and hardware, which is definitely not the ideal way to do it. So I would love if they were just honest, like, hey, listen, PS3 streaming, the cell processor, it's a big thing. We are working on it, you know what I'm saying? But for now, we'll just give you streaming. That'd be one thing, but we are just left with streaming here, and that's all we got to talk about. So definitely, down below, what are your thoughts about PS3 streaming? Is it the biggest detriment in this service? Because a lot of people would agree with that sentiment, that this PS3 streaming is the biggest problem with the new PS Plus service. Next up here, an even bigger slap in the face. This one, was not mentioned in the leaks, and I was really like, yo, there's no way. There's no way they're gonna leave out our sweet king. It's over there, I can't grab it right now, but the PlayStation Vita. The fact that there is absolutely no mention or no games whatsoever involving this new PS Plus service with the Vita is like really upsetting. You know what I'm saying? Like, the Vita has some incredibly great games on there, and it's really just like a slap in the face to like include, you know, things like the PS1, PS2, PSP, PS3, and we're just gonna skip the Vita as if it never happened. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I get, you know, that the Vita had a touch screen and a touchpad and a gyroscope and a camera, and how are you going to emulate all of those different inputs into a traditional DualSense controller on the PS5, right? Like, how is that going to work? Well, lo and behold, they at least did some of the legwork with this already, okay? Like, the PlayStation TV is a real product that did exist back in the day, you know what I'm saying? Not a lot of people know about it, but it was a real product that had Vita games that you can play without the Vita on a DualShock, I believe a DualShock 3 and a DualShock 4. I'm pretty sure you could do either or controller, but nonetheless, they were able to work on these Vita games to work on a controller. So why aren't there at least even some of these that were compatible with the PlayStation TV on this new service is beyond me. It's a big disgrace. You hate to see it. Long live the Vita. You know what I'm saying? Long live the Vita. Next up here is something that I brushed over when we first broke down this whole new service, but upon reflection, I'm really thinking about it like, that's an interesting choice, you know what I'm saying? So they, you know, say here on the PlayStation Plus, on the essential tier, so pretty much every tier of PS Plus, you will be granted the monthly downloadable games that we've had forever, really, with like PS Plus. You know what I'm saying? Like those monthly videos that I update you guys on and all that. But they say here that there's only going to be 2, which I recorded just a small little video for you guys to look over here on the PlayStation blog, but they've always had usually more than 2 games on the PS Plus offerings per month, right? Like, usually there's 3, sometimes there's 4, you know what I'm saying? But usually there are 3 games that you get. So they are essentially subtracting 1 off of that a month. And so my question is, what does that necessarily mean? And how does that relate to the library of games that we'll be getting on the extra and premium tiers of the PS Plus service, right? Because, as you know, I really don't want to say this, you hate to say this really, but the way this is looking, it looks like the monthly downloadable games on PS Plus might end up being like games with gold, which I don't mean to, you know, trash the Xbox side, you know what I'm saying? But even the Xbox guys will probably agree with me that like no one's looking out for games with gold. You know, no one's really looking out for those games because they have time and time and again have been games that are, you know, at little or have little to no consequence to them at all upon them dropping on games with gold, right? And the real appeal for new fresh games on Xbox is that Game Pass rotation that they do. I think, you know, pretty regularly. I'm not sure how often they churn out the games on Game Pass, but I want to say monthly. It probably is, but that's what I think this might end up being, where we might have an unfortunate situation where the you know, monthly games, the 2 monthly downloadable games that are on PS Plus Essential and all the other tiers are going to be a little bit lackluster in comparison to the updates that we get with the libraries on the on the extra and premium tiers of PS Plus with this new service. So I say, you know what, as long as the offerings on the game libraries that they are bringing to extra and premium are of a high quality, you know, and a regular occurrence, which definitely hang on to that regular occurrence mark. We'll see where that goes in the next bullet point. But at least if those are high quality, then, you know, can you really be that mad if the downloadable games aren't the best games in the world? You know what I'm saying? Some might view that as a little bit of a detriment if you're just on the essential tier, but definitely I would hate to see those 2 games become like a games with gold type of mentality. But going into regularly updated occurrences, let's go into our next bullet point here. I highlighted this in the update video where we went over all of the different tiers for PS Plus, and this is something that I am really looking forward to seeing how this all unveils in the final product. They say here, I'm gonna just read the quote actually here straight up here. We're working closely with our imaginative developers from PlayStation Studios and third-party partners to include some of the best gaming experiences available with a library that will be regularly refreshed. Regularly refresh, people. Now that's the big question here. How often are we talking here with that regular refresh, right? Are we talking about the same rate as the PS Plus collection, because the latest update we got on that, when the PS5 came out, that's when it came out, and the last update that we got from it was actually a few days ago, or probably weeks ago at this point, when they removed Persona 5, or announced that they will be removing Persona 5 from the PlayStation Plus collection. So not a very regularly refreshed list over there on the PS Plus collection, so I'm hoping that we have a bit more of a regular cadence here with this, and they said it here on the blog. I'm going to hold them to that. I will not remember this. I have screenshotted it, I saved it, and it's here set in stone, right? So I'm assuming, like, my thought is that maybe they do every quarter, they do a big refresh on both lists, like maybe that might be something that they are willing to do, or given that, if we're putting 2 and 2 together, they cut down the amount of games that we're getting per month on all of the tiers on PS Plus, so maybe that other third or fourth game is going to be supplemented by the refreshes of those lists on the extra and premium tier, and they do it every month. That could definitely be a case here. That might be what they're going with here, but if that was the case, why not say it here? But we'll have to see where that all ends up. But all I gotta say is that I hope that they mean it when they say regularly refreshed lists. And so the last thing here on this problems list is not necessarily a problem. You can kind of like view it in a way that's a problem, I guess, if you really want to. This is merely more of a suggestion and something that I would like to see with this PS Plus service. That is what we don't know about this service that will be offered with the service. You know what I'm saying? Like, they never really promoted anything about getting free like DLC packs for certain free-to-play games like Fortnite, like Splitgate, Rogue Company, where they have those PS Plus like celebration packs. You all know what I'm talking about. They're free on the store if you have PS Plus. Like, what if we can have an evolution of that to really fill in the gap of having no day and date releases on this service, right? And speaking of day and date, before we get into like the whole like DLC stuff, right, I definitely expect there to be certain indie games and certain smaller titles that end up being day and date on this PS Plus service that are not PlayStation Studios and stuff like that. So I definitely expect that, right, where we have those certain games that debut on Game Pass. I bet those similar ilk of games also debut on PS Plus as well. Maybe they debut at the same time, you know what I'm saying? Like maybe it's a Game Pass, PS Plus, both are premiering on like both those services day and day upon release. Maybe that's definitely in the cards there. But what I really want to see is like really how they're gonna bolster the PS Plus tier in terms of having additional content for those that are PS Plus subscribers, even for those live service games that we will be getting down the road on PS Plus, even though they are first party games, right? Maybe we don't get the full game obviously with PS Plus, but perhaps we get some really cool battle pass access for those live service games. Maybe we get some cool skins, maybe we get some currency every month and stuff like that. Like any like additional accoutrements, if you will. Is that the word? Is that the word? Accoutrements? Accoutrements? You know what I'm saying? Extra croutons, you know what I'm saying? Like, what if we, could get some extra things and extra little goodies for these live service games and free-to-play games of other developers with PS Plus? I think it could be really cool. I think it could be a really neat way to kind of bolster it and, add a little bit more sauce to those PS Plus subscribers. Or maybe they keep it locked to the premium tier, who knows? But, whatever we don't know that will be offered with this tier could be very interesting in the future. And I do hope they do something like that with the PS Plus new service. So overall, that's some of my big problems about the PS Plus service. If I missed anything, leave your thoughts in the comments below. How are you feeling about the service overall? Well, while we've known about it for about 2 weeks now, three weeks now, I think, low-key almost a month now at this point. Like, what are your thoughts on the PS Plus service? How are you feeling about it? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And make sure also, while you're down there, that the description does have our Twitter, Discord, and an Anchor link that way you can listen to our long-form content in podcast format. Those, of course, being Road to Forbidden West. As of me sitting here in this chair, we are recording the Horizon Forbidden West review for Road to Forbidden West in about an hour and a half. Hopefully that actually happens and goes live on Sunday. You will see, and you will see my tweets about it as well. So definitely get hyped for that. Thank you all for watching, and as always, greatness awaits.